Hey hello, my friend, I am Archeo the Explorer. Do you know what artifact you have? It is a mask belonging to Tutankhamun, one of the youngest kings of Egypt. We archaeologists give the kings of Egypt a very different name, because they never called themselves kings. They preferred the word pharaoh more. That's why we call the Egyptian kings pharaohs. Tutankhamun was one of these pharaohs. My friend, Tutankhamun was very young when he became pharaoh. He was probably 8 or 9 years old. That's why when we talk about Tutankhamun we call him a child pharaoh. Tutankhamun's father's name is Amenephis. We know that he was also referred to as Akhenaten in some sources as Amenephis. Tutankhamun is thought to have lived between 1342 and 1325 BC. Archaeologists learned that Tutankhamun had some physical diseases. His left foot was shaped like a lump, and his right foot was flat. So you see, he couldn't walk very well. But it did not prevent him from becoming a pharaoh. My friend, we know so much about Tutankhamun, right? To see how we learned this information, we need to go back exactly 100 years. An archaeologist named Carter conducted archaeological work in an area known as the Valley of the Kings. In this work, the entrance to a monumental room belonging to Tutankhamun was found. The entrance to Tutankhamun's monumental room was closed by a huge door. They tied the door with thick ropes and plastered it with mud. They put Tutankhamun's seal on the mud plaster. Archaeologist Carter carefully examined the seal and the mud plaster. He immediately noticed that there was a dog or a coyote on the seal from top to bottom. Just below, he observed a row of people lined up. Carter understood that these symbols on the seal were intended to inscribe Tutankhamun's name in hieroglyphics writing, that is, in pictorial writing. Archaeologists found numerous monumental pharaoh chambers in the Valley of the Kings robbed, looted and destroyed by evil people. What a terrible thing, isn't it? Request! Carter and his team were delighted to discover, for the first time, a burial chamber untouched by the bad guys. When Carter and his team entered Tutankhamun's monumental chamber, they could not believe their eyes. There were so many items that those who saw could not believe their eyes. They saw that it was preserved in the same way as it was 3,000 years ago. It took exactly 10 years for all the items to be documented and removed from the burial chamber. My friend, there were a lot of things in the monumental room of Tutankhamun. Among these items, all the items Tutankhamun used throughout his life were together. For example, all the clothes, shoes, etc. that he wore from his childhood. They even put his weapons in a room. Perhaps the most important of the item is Tutankhamun's mask, which can be found in the Arkerobox box. The masters of the period transfer the exact face of Tutankhamun to this mask. We see Tutankhamun wearing a royal hat, a long beard that only the pharaohs had, and a necklace adorned with precious stones covering his entire chest. My dear explorer, Tutankhamun's life was very difficult. He had enemies all over Egypt and had to fight them constantly. Did you know that he won many of these battles, but he died at the age of 19, for some unknown reason? The Egyptian people loved this boy king so much that they built this monumental room that we told you about. After the death of Tutankhamun, the throne of Egypt remained vacant. Many bad people competed with each other to become pharaohs. However, Tutankhamun's beloved wife Ankhesenamun sought help from the great Hittite king Suppiluliuma I. Responding to the help, the famous king of the Hittites, Suppiluliuma, immediately sent a son, but the Egyptians, who did not want the Hittites, prevented Suppiluliuma's son from coming to Egypt. Suppiluliuma was very angry at this and organized an expedition to Egypt. My friend, if you want to fly from adventure to adventure with me in that box, I'll wait.